Welcome back to So Much Black. Do you already know Enfin Leve? I guess you do so. They are a small techwear brand from Berlin, more on the artsy side than on the technical side. But also they are using very interesting technical fabrics from Schoeller, from Stotz, the usual known brands, and also a few experimental ones. This makes Enfin Leve a more experimental and artsy kind of techwear brand in my opinion. And this is very interesting. They now have dropped their new collection, the Collection 14, and this is Antoine, has also already covered his thoughts about the collection and a few pieces on them. Since Antoine already got over the general stuff about the collection and his thoughts about the looks, I will share my opinion. I have asked around and a few people wanted to hear my thoughts about the pieces and also, most importantly, the fabrics, the materials, and some remarks about the construction. I will go through about each individual piece. If you're only interested in a few pieces or in a few aspects of the collection or in a specific fabric, I will put a timestamp list down in the description that you are free to watch whatever portion of the video you like. If you want me to make more of this kind of videos, in-depth reviews of collections, then this is a good time to give the video a like. And if you're not already subscribed, do so. I appreciate that. Let's start with the Zerain jacket. This is a Swiss Army jacket. Originally, the Swiss Army issued the M70 in their TAZ57 camouflage pattern. This is called the Alpenflage pattern and is a very distinct pattern. If you're interested in the Alpenflage and its history, I have researched a video, which I link up here, about the history of the Swiss Alpenflage and the M70 Swiss Parka. In this case, they used not the 100% cotton that the Swiss Army was using with their M70, but they used a 100 polyester fabric with 99% silver plating. So this is either the yarn or the fabric. I suspect it's the yarn itself that is plated with silver, with a very thin sheet of silver, and then woven into a fabric. We don't know the amount of silver in weight per gram of the jacket or something like that they used for the fabric. So I can't give too much information about the properties of that jacket fabric. What's sure is it will be electrically conductive in at least a little bit. It will have interesting thermal properties, and of course that silver-plated fabric looks very interesting. Regarding the pattern making, there is a seam in the middle of the center back, which is, I guess, due to saving material. As the more pieces you have in a garment, the less pattern, the less waste you are cutting. If you're interested in fabrics with metal contents, please let me know, and I can prepare a video specifically about fabrics out of metal or with metal platings and coatings and such. This is a very interesting topic, but at the moment I didn't have enough time to do a really interesting proper research about that. The second garment they have with a new fabric is the Haizete Parka, which was originally available in camo dye cotton with the 3M Thinsulate insulation layer. Now it's available in black Stotz Etaproof. Stotz Etaproof is a finely weaved, densely weaved cotton gabardine. This is comparable or very similar to the Ventile cotton that's used since World War II. This is essentially using the bad properties of cotton, that it can absorb very much water and very fast, to its advantages. You have many layers of thread in this fabric, and the first layer, the top layer, gets wet, and when it gets wet, it's so densely, tightly woven that the fabric swells, the fibers swell, and as soon as the first layer is saturated, there doesn't get any water down from there. So it rains on the jacket, and the jacket is watertight for about 2 to 3 hours. This is one of the simplest solutions for a soft shell, and of course the Swiss maker Stotz has increased the performance of the fabric. It has a DWR coating on it. It's not taking too much water, but always a little bit, that it can be watertight. And apart from the Stotz Etaproof, I don't know of any natural fiber soft shell yet. Fun fact to Parkas. This is a fishtail parka, and the cordage on the bottom of the fishtail originally was invented to tie that fishtail down to your crotch, and therefore tie it a little bit down on your legs and keep the air layer inside the garment to make it more insulating and warm. The next garment is the Eurria jacket. This was originally introduced a few seasons ago in Stotz Etaproof, if I recall correctly. And now they used two Polartec fabrics. Once Polartec Alpha as an insulation layer, and Polartec Neoshell as a shell layer above that. This is interesting. Those fabrics are created both for military usage and not for still sitting military usage, but high volume, high activity military usage. Polartec Alpha is an insulation fiber that is well compressible, so it expands back into its original form. So if you were stuff it into a stuff sack, or if you are sitting on it, or if you have a belt or a backpack on it, on the fabric, then it can expand well into its original form, and it's highly breathable. So you can be active in this garment, and at the same time the sweat will evaporate, while you are still getting kept warm if you are sitting still. And this works very well with the Polartec Neoshell shell, which is a very breathable shell membrane. The Neoshell is a polyurethane microporous membrane, so you have little holes in the membrane, and through these holes, this is the same principle that Gore-Tex also functions with. These holes are too small for water droplets, but big enough for water vapor. I think combining these two fabrics is a very interesting move from Enfin Leve, because they didn't have such a high volume, high activity layer yet, and you can really use that garment well if you are going through the subway or traveling with a car and don't want to take your jacket off while you are switching from warm to cold environment. Also, the collar is an asymmetrical one. This is normally interesting more for primarily insulation layers. If you are interested in the construction or the general gist of having a shirt with such a collar, UF Pro, a military garment maker, has made a video about their ACE combat shirt, which I've linked above. The fourth garment they have introduced the new version of the Ameztu cargo pants. As Antoine already said, the pockets look a bit like the acronym pockets. If you have any opinion about the pocket design and how different designers could potentially build upon each other, or whether you think that Enfin Leve has completely ripped off the Aurrean pocket design and you are mad or happy about that. Please write your thoughts down in the comments. I'm very interested in your opinion. Schoeller Dryskin is a soft shell material from Schoeller, obviously, a Swiss fabric maker. I have already made a video about Schoeller and their products, an interview with the Schoeller ambassador. You can view that here if you want. In short, Schoeller Dryskin is a material that has two layers. One layer for DWR, durable water repellency, and abrasion resistance, so a tight nylon weave or knit. And on the inside of the soft shell layer you have a soft layer with a very high surface, so mostly a fleece of some sort, and this fleece can wick away moisture into the other layer. In this case they have used a merino backed Schoeller Dryskin. So you have merino wool, which is a natural material and the finest wool that's available on the world. It doesn't scratch on your skin and is very warm even in thin layers, and does a great deal of temperature regulation. So it can absorb moisture, but it does not get wet as fast as cotton or polyester. It doesn't wet out as fast, and even when it's damp, it's still warm. So even with a very small and thin layer of merino wool, these pants are very warm and very winterproof. The next pair of reintroduced pants is the Aurrean cargo pants. I really like their pocket design, that you have a big cargo pocket on the thigh and a cell phone pocket inside that. This combines the two features on every cargo pant I love. First, you have very much storage, just like on the Right Division 2 pocket pants. I already reviewed them. You can see that here. And on the other hand side, they have a cell phone pocket that you can put your cell phone in underneath that pocket. Normally we only see that as a separate pocket or inside the cargo pocket itself, but this way it doesn't take up too much space and it's concealed. This is interesting, and from a pattern making standpoint it's not too difficult either. The fifth piece they reintroduce is the Esekita bomber jacket. This time they introduce it in a cold dyed cotton variant. So this is a cotton nylon blend, 55% cotton, 45% nylon, and normally you can mix the fibers of cotton and nylon, so a natural fabric and a synthetic fabric, in two stages. First you can use nylon yarn and cotton yarn and weave a fabric out of that, or you can do a mixed yarn. And I guess they have done it with a mixed yarn, because if you would use two finished yarns, you would have a more regular pattern on the. This way they have mixed cotton and nylon in the yarn creating process stage. And normally you mix those very thoroughly, but I guess in this time they have found a manufacturer that does not mix them too thoroughly, and when you then dye them in a specific way, you can give out you can make these differences of the fibers come out in the looks of the jacket. They specify that this is a cold dyed jacket. Normally garments are dyed in a very hot state, above 100 degrees Celsius, because the hotter it gets, the faster the dyeing process works and the better the dye can go into the fabric. But when you dye it in a cold way, you can make that more of the cotton or more of the nylon fibers get a specific color, a specific pigment into them. And you can fine-tune the dyeing process that it's in a way that it gives an optically pleasing result. Another garment with the Polartec Alpha insulation is the hoodie that Antoine was very fond of in his last season's review. Previously, this hoodie was available in a Schoeller Dryskin variant with the soft shell fabric on the outside, and now it's with a durable water repellency treated outside, so it's wind and water resistant. They have put some water resistant zippers into the hoodie, and they have made it insulated. So if you're feeling a little bit cold, you can put this on, more relaxed look, than if you put on a down jacket or a puffer jacket in the insulation layer. The last pieces of the old reimagined ones is the Xera vest. And this vest is now available first in Stotz Etaproof, the aforementioned softshell material, and in Kangaroo leather. Kangaroo leather is the strongest leather in the world, which is the reason why Enfin Leve have already introduced some Kangaroo leather pieces into their collections. In normal leather, you have the skin layer, and beneath that the leather is formed, and the collagen fibers, which make the leather strong, are oriented in every direction. So up and down and sideways, no matter. They have no organization whatsoever. But in Kangaroo leather, all the collagen fibers are orientated in one plane with the skin surface. So no matter in which direction you pull the surface of the skin, it will be very, very strong. And this makes Kangaroo leather a perfect material for bags, for belts, for garments. It's just very strong. And depending on how you dye the leather, how you tan the leather, it's ecological sustainable or not. Chrome tanned leather is the cheaper version, but this is toxic for the environment, or at least can be if you don't really manage your waste process, and then it gets expensive and expensive. So most chrome tanned leather is dangerous for the environment. Vegetable tanned leather, on the other side, is not wasteful, it's not dangerous for the environment, but it's very slow, so it's way more expensive. Enfin Leve use vegetable tanned leather as far as I know, so this is a very ecological conscious decision. Also, vegetable tanned leather has other properties compared to oil tanned or chrome tanned leather. It is softer and it breaks in differently. If you want more information about Kangaroo leather and why it's the way it is, I link a paper down in the description about Kangaroo leather, and you can read further information about that. Now we are coming to the new pieces. Enfin Leve also dropped a few new pieces they didn't have in stock before, and I will talk about them now. The first one is the Ilargia Kangaroo leather jacket. We already spoke about Kangaroo leather when I talked about the Xera vest. So now I want to talk to you about the pattern making and the design decisions in the piece. Since most people don't like the feeling of the meat side of the leather on their skin, directly on their skin, most leather jackets are lined. This time Enfin Leve uses a nylon lining, and you can see that in the photo right at the collar. Leather is a very varied material in terms of size of the pieces. Since every animal is different, every animal has scars and imperfections on its skin, you really have problems when you have too big of a leather piece in your garment. So you will see in every leather garment that you find online or in stores that they have put strategic seams onto the garment, that they have made the design focused on the piecing together different leather pieces of different size to create an interesting look for the garment and also make it functional for the garment construction. So on the front side of the piece you have those seams. You have on the back side of the garment, you have seams. And also the sleeves have interesting seam lines attached on them. In general, the sleeves and the piece, Enfin Leve use a very interesting stitching for this piece. I mean, the contrasting color, white on black, is already interesting, but I don't see this kind of stitching every so often. This looks more like a tribal stitch, like a zigzag stitch on that garment. So this is also a stylistic decision. I don't really know, without looking on the inside of the garment, what kind of stitch they used. So if you have any information about that, please write that down in the description. I am really curious about that. I want to learn more about this stitching. Also, the pockets on the side of the jacket are interesting because this is a flap that hides the zipper. This is from the pattern construction. Interesting. Let's come to the Bisai double vest. This is a vest and insulation garment. You have two parts of the garment. You have the vest without sleeves in a mesh-like fabric. And then there's a bolero type piece on top of that with sleeves and a little bit of the upper torso, about half of the torso, which then has attached a few pockets on it. The piece is lined with Thinsulate insulation. Thinsulate is from 3M, the company that makes Scotch tape, and this is the first insulation that has hit the market, the first synthetic insulation that was invented. If you're interested in what you can do with Thinsulate, I have a video upcoming about an insulation jacket I'm crafting at the moment. I got some 3M Thinsulate on the ISPO trade fair this year for free from Thinsulate, so let's try to make an interesting jacket out of that. Also, they have attached the Tec-Sys webbing onto the garment. This is a molle webbing, parts webbing. Normally you have parts webbing that you have a strip of nylon, nylon webbing that you stitch onto a garment in certain distances. And there's also laser cut webbing that you laser cut specific slots onto the fabric. But in this type there is one webbing and there are loops that are coming in and out of the webbing. The manufacturer claims that there is a breaking load of 300 kilos of every loop of Tec-Sys. So more than the traditional pulse webbing if you do it with only one row of stitching. Now we are coming to the Itzala adjustable coat and the Salbuta vest. This is a combination of a simple coat with no real pockets or very hefty design decisions, and then on top of that they are using the vest to enhance the outfit and to layer on top of that. The coat is adjustable, so you can change the length of the coat, and the vest also has the Tec-Sys webbing on. On the vest we have two types of fitlock buckles. First the V buckle and then the simple belt buckle that they have, the plastic one. I guess they are used mainly for optical and the looks of it. Fifth jacket is the Hitzen jacket. This is available in two fabric combinations. One, it's available with Polartec Alpha and Stotz Etaproof. This is also a very breathable combination. Stotz Etaproof is generally a very breathable layer since cotton can absorb moisture and then give it back away if you are not sweating too much and if it's not raining. And Polartec Alpha obviously is a very breathable insulation. The second fabric is a Schoeller fabric with aluminium in it. I couldn't find any information about this fabric. I will have to call Schoeller and talk with them about that. If, as already said, if you're interested in more properties and scientific interesting things about aluminium and metal fabrics, let me know down in the description, and I will try to make a full video about aluminium fabrics and whatnot. I can also try to talk with Schoeller at the next trade fair I am. So if you want any information about this kind of fabrics, then please write it in the description or notify me, and I will try to give you everything of information I can get. The jacket is very simply designed, not too many pockets, very simple flat body, but this is the only jacket from the new collection that has a jacket sling inside, so it's modular. You can use it however the way you want, and if you don't need it at the moment, you can sling it onto your back and then you can just move freely around. I don't know how the jacket sling looks, if it's a backpack sling with two slings or if it's a sling across the body like the acronym or ACG sling. So every garment normally has a different sling if it's designed perfectly. So we'll see when people use this. Another jacket from Stotz Etaproof is the Uhal Jacket. This is a soft shell that has two big flaps on the chest pocket, using Tec-Sys molle webbing underneath to have a possibility of attaching pouches onto that, and B, concealing the Tec-Sys webbing so it looks a little bit more civilian. Normally you have very military look of garments that have Tec-Sys or molle webbing on them. Also they have an articulated sleeve design with a very interesting elbow and shoulder pattern. The second to last garment in the collection is the Lehia denim jacket. This is a coated denim. There are 4 materials in this fabric. The fabric is made out of about 80% cotton, 10% linen, about 10% resin and 2% elastane. This makes the garment a very interesting one. As soon as you mix very different materials with each other, you can try to merge their properties and to balance their properties. The cotton and the linen are both natural fibers, which are very breathable. Especially the linen can really conduct the heat. So this fabric is good in hot conditions, but the resin makes it a little bit more water resistant, a little bit more wind resistant, and a little bit more durable. So the fabric is also good in cold and windy conditions. You can still use that. And the elastane makes it less stiff, and you can also have a little bit of stretch in the garment, so it's not as uncomfortable as some very heavy Count Denier denim garments. Last but not least, they introduce a new cargo pants, the artsy cargo pants. This is made out of a stretchy polyamide and elastane ripstop weave in the base fabric, and the panels on the outside are completely out of polyamide. So the main body of the pants is stretchy, and you have a bit of a give to it. It's very comfortable, and the pockets and the panels have a different feel on them. These are the areas where you are constantly touching with your hands when you are getting and putting things in and out of pockets. So this is one of the areas that faces the most abrasion, and polyamides in general, so nylon, perlon and other fabrics, are very abrasion resistant. I also like the different looks of the two fabrics. And in case the main fabric, the stretchy fabric, rips, there's a ripstop weave in it, so the ripping, the cut will stop at the next of the cross-sectional weaving points. I was asked to give my favorite pieces of the collection. I really think the new Eurria cargo pants is very interesting. Other than that, I don't have a real favorite piece. The Polartec Alpha, Polartec Neoshell shell jacket is also very interesting for me. So if you want a jacket, I would recommend this out of personal taste. And the new pants. Also the new Ameztu cargo pants with the pocket design is interesting. I would love to wear them one day and to see how the pattern is constructed, how the pockets are made, which I find very interesting. So Enfin Leve, if you are seeing that, I'm available. This leads me to the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions or thoughts about the collection, want to say anything, please do that down in the comments. If you want to see more of my videos, you can do that here. And if you want to subscribe to my videos here, the next video I will be doing is a video how I did these sleeve warmers as a DIY challenge. So stay tuned. Have a nice day.